So what's the difference between healthcare consulting and management consulting? You'll find out by the end of this video. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Davis. I'm a former Bain consultant, recruiter, and the founder of My Consulting Offer. And here at My Consulting Offer, we've helped over 800 people start their careers in both management consulting and healthcare consulting. All right, let's dive in. So what exactly is management consulting? Simply put, management consulting, as the name implies, is giving business advice to a management of a company. So for example, let's say that an airline is trying to figure out if they should launch a new route. Where should they launch a new route? They'll hire management consultants to come in, work on this problem, map out the different routes, the profitability, the costs, the revenues, the difficulty to implement, and then they'll come back to the management, let's say the CEO, and give a recommendation. Healthcare consulting is very similar, but you focus on those who are involved with healthcare. So you can think, for example, biotech companies, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, life science research centers, and so forth. So you can think of healthcare consulting as part of management consulting. So if there was a Venn diagram, there'll be a huge overlap between healthcare consulting and management consulting. If you are applying to healthcare consulting, there's two terms that you need to be aware of, which are pure play healthcare consulting firms and non-pure play. For example, pure play healthcare consulting firms are consulting firms that only focus on healthcare consulting and nothing else. For example, this could be ZS Associates, Putnam Health, and IQVIA. Then there are non-pure play healthcare consulting firms. These are healthcare consulting firms that have a healthcare consulting arm, but they also have other parts of their business as well. For example, this could be McKinsey, Bain, Boston Consulting Group, who have a practice area for healthcare consulting, but it's not the only practice area they're involved in. Now you know the definition of the two. Let's talk about what they have in common. The recruiting process is very similar. You have to submit your resume and oftentimes a cover letter to apply for the role. And then you have to pass the interview in order to get the job. And during the interview portion, you're going to encounter both the fit interviews as well as the case interviews. The difference you might have guessed already is that for healthcare consulting firms, during the fit interviews, they're going to know why you're interested in healthcare consulting. And during the case interviews, you're often going to have healthcare cases that need you to demonstrate your experience or some knowledge of the healthcare field. The second similarity they have in common is the promotion window. The promotion track is often the same and very similar for both types of consulting firms. Third, the professional development and consulting skills that you're going to learn are very similar. From in both firms, you're going to learn how to think like a consultant. You're going to learn how to structure your problems, learn how to think analytically, learn to be a creative problem solver, learn to work with clients, and learn to lead teams. So all the skills that you would learn from general management consulting, you would also learn in healthcare consulting. The next similarity is the type of projects you're going to be working on. So companies will hire you to go in and solve problems. This applies for both types of firms. And oftentimes, because these consulting firms charge a lot of money, the clients are going to expect an ROI. So a lot of these projects you're going to be working on are high leverage projects. For example, during one of my healthcare consulting cases, I was asked to build a marketing plan and a launch plan for a life-saving drug. And then once I did that, I was hired by other divisions in the same company to do the same for their life-saving drugs as well. The client dynamics are also quite similar because you're going to be dealing with people from all different levels, but mainly you're going to be reporting to the executive team. And the compensation is the same in the sense that you're going to be earning within the top 5% of world earners. The actual compensation range will change depending on your seniority at the firm, which firm, your expertise, and so forth. But you can expect to make a lot of money regardless if you do healthcare consulting or management consulting. Well, I wouldn't recommend this being the only reason why you want to work in management consulting. It is a pretty cool perk to know that you're going to be earning a lot of money. Now, let's talk about the differences. When it comes to the recruiting process, for a general management consulting firm, if you're applying to be a generalist, you're not going to be expected to come in with specialized knowledge, for example, in healthcare, versus if you're applying for a healthcare consulting role, if you're applying for a senior role, you're going to already be expected to have experience and knowledge. If you're applying for a more junior role, for example, like a post-college or, for example, like a post-university role, you're going to be expected to have some interest in healthcare consulting. The second difference is the team composition. Oftentimes in management consulting, you're going to have a lot of generalists and an expert or two on the team. But in healthcare consulting, you can expect to have a lot more specialists on your team. And as is implied already, the types of clients are also different. In management consulting, you're going to have a different variety of clients, especially if you're working at a generalist firm, because they're going to come from all different types of industries. So you might have a healthcare consultant client, but then you might have an automotive client. And these can range from public companies to private companies, from nonprofits to governments, and so forth. While in healthcare, the companies you're going to be working with are all within the healthcare space. So you can have a client from a hospital to a public health organization to the government to a biotech company, but it's all within the healthcare space. And the final difference is the work-life balance. While it's always dependent on the client and the project and your role within the company, generally speaking, generalist management consulting is going to have you working a lot more hours. And on average, general management consultants work between 50 to 60 hours, while on average, again, it depends on the case, for healthcare consulting, you can expect to work 40 to 50 hours per week. So you do get about 10 hours on average less work. But again, it depends on the case, your role in the company, and this particular project. And if you're in the process of applying to management consulting firms or healthcare consulting firms, which one is the right career path for you? Well, whenever I have clients who are thinking looking and they're applying to both management consulting firms and healthcare consulting firms, I always like to ask them this question, which is, what do you want to do after consulting? Assuming that you don't stay in consulting for the rest of your life. For example, if you already made up your mind that you want to go into a healthcare field, a life science field, then of course, having healthcare consulting is going to propel your career forward because you're already going to have the experience, you're going to have the network, you're going to have the expertise, so you're going to beat out anyone who's a generalist management consulting. So all else equal, you're going to have a better chance of landing these jobs after consulting than generalists who don't have the same background. The opposite is also true. If you want to leave your options open and you're not sure if you want to do the healthcare field, biotech, or any of the related fields later, you might want to become a generalist management consulting and keep your options open because you're going to be exposed to different fields and different industries. And there's no right or wrong answer here. For example, one of the clients that I enjoyed working with, she actually applied to both management consulting firms and healthcare consulting firms, but she ultimately chose to turn down offers from McKinsey, Bain, and BCG to actually join a healthcare consulting firm because after losing her mother to cancer and studying pre-med in university, she decided that she wanted to enter the healthcare profession eventually. So it was a really easy chance for her to start that. And of course, that was a personal decision, but she could also have gone the other way if she didn't want to go to healthcare long term. So when you're thinking about this, if you want to leave your options open, go for generalist management consulting firm. If you're already made up your mind, you want to be in the healthcare space after consulting, then you focus your scope on healthcare consulting. And if there's a question that you have that we haven't addressed in this video, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll reply personally back to you. But if you've already made up your mind that you want to be a healthcare consultant or a management consultant, I'd love to help you. Here at my consulting offer, we've helped over 800 people start their careers in both management consulting and healthcare consulting. And we've done this at a 90% success rate when it comes to getting people interviews and helping them pass interviews on their way to an offer. And I'd love for you to be our next success story. To find out if you qualify for our coaching program, all you have to do is click the link below. And if it's a good fit, we'll invite you to the program. If it's not, we'll point you in the right direction. And once you're in the program, we're gonna walk you through step by step how to get your interviews and how to pass your interviews and how to make sure you're successful as a management consultant. But you don't have to take my word for it. Actually hear from someone who went through our program who actually wanted to become a healthcare consultant. Her name is Nuina, and she actually didn't come from a healthcare background. I'll actually include her video next to my head, so you can actually click the video, and then she'll walk you through her process of why she wanted to work in healthcare consulting and her path to getting her offer. All right, I'll see you in the next video.